Hi, welcome back to the Sing Confidently Live Creatively podcast. Estelle here. I'm an actor, singer, and vocal coach and host of the podcast. If we haven't met, hi, nice to meet you. Nice to be here with you today. I want to talk about overcoming self doubt and how it really pays off for you as a creative, for me as a creative, how moving past that self doubt has benefits, even if it seems small and even if it's like incremental, which for me it has been in some ways. And I feel like it is for most of us, it's like little steps forward. In spite of self-doubt, you see a little bit of a win here and a little bit of a win there. I just want to encourage you, if you are like, you listened to my interview with Brandy Campbell on Monday, that was released on Monday. You heard all about how she's creating this musical and she has like put herself out there online and she's building a community there and she's like overcome rejection and stuff like that. And so if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen to it. That's episode 303, How to Be a Musical Theater Actress, Writer, Producer, and Create Your Own Work with Brandy Campbell. She's incredible and you're really going to enjoy our conversation, especially if you want to be in the musical theater space, which if you're listening to this, you probably are curious about because I talk about musical theater a lot on this podcast. But the show is also just about being a creative and creating your own work and putting yourself out there and building confidence in your creative journey, as well as in your singing, in your performing skills, etc. So when it comes to that, like you're going to face self-doubt. And if you listened to that podcast with Brandy and maybe you came out of it feeling like, or you've paused this and you've gone and listened and now you're coming back and you've come out of it feeling like, I could never do what she does. Like, I just could never do that. Like, sounds overwhelming. It sounds crazy. Or you're thinking like, I wish I could do that, but I don't know where to start. Or you're thinking, okay, I think I'm doing something like that, but I'm still, struggling with this or that. And what you're facing is you're facing self-doubt. You're facing this like uncertainty of like, can I actually do this? Is this actually possible for me? I want to remind you of what Brandy talks about, which is like you um she talks about like taking action, which I talk about a lot on this show, and about not staying still, but being engaged, like engaging in life, engaging in what you want to do, and rather than just like, staying stuck. And I want to encourage you that if you're struggling with self doubt, when you're willing to take action and not stay stuck, in spite of that self doubt, I I know and I believe that there is a payoff. There is a benefit, even if it's small. And so if you can think about the fact that there's going to be a reward on the other side, if you can think about the fact that, okay, if I move through this self-doubt and I decide to write the song anyway, I decide to post myself singing online anyway, I decide to go to this open mic night anyway, I decide to audition for this show anyway, if I move through the self-doubt, what is the best thing that can happen? And that is where you think about what the payoff is, and you don't allow the self doubt to stop you, but instead you overcome the self doubt by thinking about what the payoff will be, by thinking about what the best thing that can happen is. I've talked about other ways to overcome self doubt, which is like reconnecting to your why. Why do you want to do that? Getting grounded in your passion for the thing that you want to do. And that's definitely one angle. But this is kind of another angle to approach self doubt from, in order for you to really become the confident performing artist, singer, and creative that you want to be. um, Thinking about what the payoff will be, when you move through the self-doubt, that for me has allowed me to do the work that I'm doing now, to have a podcast with, thousands of downloads, people listening all around the world. Thank you so much for listening and sharing the show. It means so much. Like, that couldn't have happened if I had stayed stuck in self-doubt. But for me to be able to think like, okay, what is like one small benefit that'll happen if I put out this podcast episode? And for me, it was like, well, I would feel like I'm being creative, and I wanted to be creative. When I first started the show, I was just like, I just want to make sure that I'm continuing to be creative, because I was in medical school at that time before I decided to go to music school instead. That's a whole story, I've shared in other episodes. But the other thing is that, I also thought about the fact that, well, what if one person really is blessed by this? What if one person really decides to, do something creative because of this podcast. And so that kind of helped me to think about that payoff, even if it was a small payoff. That helped me to decide that it's still worth putting in the effort to move past my self-doubt around like, oh, am I even good enough to have a podcast? Can I even do this? Da, 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 right? So the challenge is that we get to, right? We get to keep going. So the challenge is that we keep going. You might move through one level of self-doubt, but guess what? You're going to keep coming back to it. You're going to have to keep coming face to face with that doubt again and again and again and move forward in spite of it, right? In spite of all that doubt. Every single audition, I feel a level of like, can I even do this? Am I going to get this? Like, is this even going to be worth it? That self-doubt comes in. You have to move through it. You have to move past it. Think about what is the benefit on the other side. And that benefit has to be something, I feel like it's better if it's something that you um are certain will happen. So for instance, like I'm not certain that I'll get the part when I audition for this, but I am certain that I will have the opportunity to perform if I do the audition. That's going to give me a chance to perform in front of a couple people behind the casting table. Amazing. That's something that I'm certain is a payoff. That's a payoff. It's a benefit. Um, and so whatever it is for you, even if you can think of like a small thing that'll be a payoff on the other side of you moving through that self-doubt, that is going to help you to then move through it because you know that you're gonna guarantee like this is what's gonna happen. And you can also think about potential payoffs. Like, of course, what if you do get the role? That's amazing, right? Think about the best case scenario. What if you do? Um, when you write that song, what if you do get to then record it in a studio? That's amazing, right? Because you put yourself out there on social media and you shared yourself singing. What if you do get to connect with other singers around the world? That's amazing, right? What if a lot of people do comment, right? That'd be amazing. And so what is the best case scenario? And then also what is like very likely to happen that is going to be a good payoff? So even if you don't get a bunch of comments or likes on that video of yourself singing, guess what? You did your singing for the day. You put yourself out there that day. You got the opportunity to perform. You created your own opportunity to sing and perform for people by sharing a video of yourself singing. That is a payoff, right? So think about that payoff when you're struggling with that self-doubt, and it will help you move through the self-doubt to see the payoff. Some of my self-doubts, I'll share a couple, right? Some of the things that I faced and continue to face that continue to come up because, like I said, you will keep coming face to face with that doubt. Even when you move through it the first time, it's going to come back, right? Because if you want to take it from a spiritual lens, which I do, as if you know me, you know that I will, the enemy of the world, the enemy of the soul, the enemy of God he is fighting against us, those of us who are artists, who have a gift that God has given us. He's fighting against us using it. Oh yeah, he does not want us to use it. I know for myself, he does not want me to use it. And so he's going to keep on bringing that self-doubt. However, I know that by the grace of God, I'm able to move through it. Right. So that's a spiritual lens that I always look at it from as well, if that helps you. So some of the self-doubt that I have faced, let me just share vulnerably. Let me just share a few things. One, self-doubt around pursuing. So I talked about the podcast. So that's one. And then self-doubt around pursuing my career in the arts, period. That was like the biggest one. Still comes up here and there, but not as much as before. But yeah, self-doubt around like, should I even be doing it? Is this even a good career choice? All those questions. But if I hadn't moved through that self-doubt initially, I would never have gotten into an Ivy League program for music and music education that I'm currently in and about to finish my master's in, which is crazy. Only the grace of God. Like from a medical school dropout to an Ivy League master's graduate. That's insane. That's insane, right? And yet here we are. But if I'd given into that self-doubt, I wouldn't have had the experiences that I've had in my program that I've loved so much, right? And been able to pursue this career now. And I have this like incredible training, incredible background, and incredible connections through my program that I've been able to do. Here's another bit of self-doubt that I faced around whether my voice is quote unquote good enough, right? I had to face that. And I had to decide that I love my voice and I love the the good, and I love the things that I'm still working on. I love all the nuances of it. And it took time for me to learn to love my voice and to accept it and to feel confident in it, even when I don't, quote unquote, always feel confident in my voice, but I still feel confident that I know that I'm a good singer and that I have a good voice, right? And I love my voice. Even if I don't always feel confident in it, I still walk in that confidence, if that makes sense. So another self-doubt that I've had is whether I can be a good songwriter or whether I can be a songwriter. But I've written songs in spite of that, right? I have literally songs written and even recorded one and had a friend help me with that. It's not released or anything, but I used it. And yeah, it's incredible. If I had given into that self-doubt, I wouldn't have written a word or sung a note of my own. And then another one is like around putting myself out there as a performer and a creative. And right now, because I put myself out there as a performer and a creative, I I have a gig coming up, which is my first gig of the year to sing. It's a paid gig, my first one of the year to sing for a Valentine's Day event coming up, which I'm so excited about. I'm working on my jazz. So if any of you guys are jazz singers, give me some tips because your girl sings musical theater and like gospel, Afro gospel, and pop and stuff. I'm trying to expand my jazz now, work on my jazz singing right now, my jazz vocals as I prepare for that. So give me some tips if you're into the jazz space. But yeah, now that's a payoff because I've been able to put myself out there and offered myself to do this gig. And so moving past these levels of self-doubt pays off for me. And I know it's paid off for you. If you think back, you'll see some places in your life where moving past your own self-doubt has paid off. And so whatever that thing is that you're facing right now that continues to come up again and again, I'm not good enough. I can't sing on stage. I'm not confident. I'm scared to sing on stage. I'm scared to go to a voice lesson. I'm scared to sign up to work with Estelle in a voice lesson, right? Whatever that self-doubt is, I want you to think about what is the potential payoff. For instance, if you've been wanting to work with me, and I'm being genuine here, like if you really want to work on your voice and you've been listening to my show and you feel like you trust me and you'd love to work with me and you're still not sure, like there's still like some self-doubt of like, what if it's not worth it? What if it doesn't go well? Da da da. Think about the potential payoff. For sure, I can guarantee you because I love teaching, I can guarantee you that you're going to have a great time, that you're going to feel better about your voice at the end of a voice lesson with me than you did before. That is like my number one goal, especially from the first lesson. I want you to feel even more confident, even if it's just a little bit more confident in your voice and in your journey. And if you never take another lesson with me again, you'll know that at the end of that first lesson, that is the outcome. That is my goal, right? So that is something that you can be 99% sure of, right? Unless something goes terribly wrong, that at the end of your voice lesson, you're going to feel better about your voice when it comes to working with me for sure. So that's a potential payoff. And then what are some other payoffs that you can even imagine, like dream bigger than big. Like if you're a singer-songwriter and you want to work with me as a voice teacher, who knows, maybe you could end up on the podcast. Like that's amazing, right? So think big, dream big, think of like the best possible outcome, as well as like what is absolutely likely to happen. And this thinking about taking a lesson with me is just one example, but whatever it is that is on your heart that you're having self-doubt around, I want you to think about the potential payoff and move through that self-doubt, overcome it, and take action on that today. Okay. That is my message for you. That is my episode for you today. I hope it encourages you if you want to work with me, if you want to take that step of courage to overcome self-doubt around taking a voice lesson. And you can go to creativelybyestelle.com/studio, creativelybyestelle.com/studio. Right now, you can grab a half-hour lesson for $40 or a full 1-hour lesson for $60, or you can do a free 15-minute kind of voice consultation. We can sing a little bit. I'll help you out a little bit just in 15 minutes, just a quick check-in. But that's all at creativelybyestelle.com/studio. I would love to work with you. I'd love to support you on this journey. And I can't wait to talk to you guys again in our next episode. If you have any questions for me whatsoever, you guys know where to find me via email or on Instagram DM at Creatively by Estelle. I am here for you. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode and to this show. I'm so in awe of you for being here and showing up for your creative gifts. That takes courage. Don't forget to join the performing arts community on Facebook for support and inspiration as you continue on your journey. If this episode helped or inspired you in any way, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and share it with someone. It means so much. Thank you again, and don't forget to keep singing, acting, dancing, performing, and living creatively. Talk to you next time.